Jazz versus Grizzlies. Just got done watching. Man, I wish we played the Grizzlies every night.
At least once a week, like I said before. Thank you, Memphis.
We tried to lose it.
We tried our hardest.
We tried. Our coach tried.
That stretch through the third quarter and the start of the fourth quarter was
rough,
painful.
Yeah, and that's right. You got to understand how to control those outbursts of your bench players. Tucker came in, hit some big shots in the first half.
First half, right? And then Sexton was
being aggressive, yeah. And then in the second half, they were struggling. That's when you need to see it, pull it, right? And we just sat with Sexton and Tucker as our guards for how freaking long?
It was rough, and we had a stretch of so many turnovers in a row. Fontecchio came in and actually hit a few shots.
Yeah.
But he only took, I think, 3 shots total on the game. Collins, I think, was
5 for 6.
5 for 6 on the game.
3 for 3 from the three-point line.
Only had 6 shots. That's something where we need to intentionally try and feed and get players like that a few more touches and not just, when the ball happens to fall to them or whatever like that. We need to be more intentional. And I would like to see those be kind of some of the more of the steps that the team takes and that the coach pushes on the team during the year.
Yeah. Obviously, the big talking point right now is Keyonte George. He had 10 assists, 11 assists tonight.
11 assists.
So, 11 assists, 2 turnovers. So, he didn't shoot great. He was 2 for 12 from the field, 1 for 6. You can see he wants the moment, though, right? Wants that moment. That was cool to see. But, man, starting point guard, rookie, 20 years old, 2 games so far. He has 20 assists to 3 turnovers.
That's a heck of a 2-game stretch. And you can see that each game, kind of his body's getting pretty tired towards the end of the game, and that's where a couple of the turnovers are happening. That's when the games get tougher too. But on the end of a 4-game road trip,
yeah,
I mean, these are all some things that'll throw in a little bit more pressure onto it. So fantastic. His playmaking is so far ahead of schedule of what I could have imagined.
Man,
unbelievable.
His pass, we talked about it several times during the game, but his pass to John Collins, kind of little step through as Collins cut and just like flicked it like that. And it should have been an assist. Collins, you could see he caught it but wasn't quite prepared for a pass like that. And that's so far, through the first 2 games, he had a pass like that in the first game where you could tell the guys are just not expecting anyone on our team to be able to make that kind of pass.
He's the only one on the team that can do that right now for sure. And some of his assists each game are coming because he'll hit a player early and they have the time and space to basically get a shot. Or he'll get marking in the ball as he's kind of coming over the top of some of those screens across into the lane. And he gets it to him early as he's rounding the corner, and it makes it so that he can get an easy bucket. So some of them are easy, but there are a couple of passes a game that are spicy.
Yeah.
That are not just run-of-the-mill vanilla assists. It's nice. I didn't ever see that out of him in college.
No, dude. And he just calms our team down. Our rookie point guard should not be the guy to be able to really calm things down. And that's what he's done.
You see a couple of times a game maybe that he's a little bit out of control or doesn't quite make the right choice, but man, the amount of times that he does is, like I said, way ahead of schedule. And it's
exciting.
It's all right. We watch the game and, we'll be like, oh, come on, Rook, fix that part. But the rest of the time we're grinning and, man, it's fun.
Yeah, it's finally finding some life of the start of the season of excitement towards our future.
Yep, and I'd be willing to bet the farm that his offense comes along. There'll be games that he's clicking and hitting his shots too. And then what's your assessment of the young guy, dude?
Dude.
If he can pull that off and he's also hitting shots and stretching the floor, my goodness.
And something we talked about, several times in preseason and things like that is, let's say we lose this game and Keyonte came down and he'd miss some shots down the stretch and we end up losing it. That's not the worst thing in the world because Keyonte needs to learn to be in these kind of moments. He needs to learn where his energy's at. He needs to learn those kind of things. So that's not the worst thing in the world. if we end up losing it. Now, we end up winning the game, a big part of Clarkson, and to Clarkson's credit, we needed a guy to be able to hit some big buckets down the stretch, and Clarkson did.
He did.
Hit some huge buckets down the stretch, and really the last minute and a half kind of helped keep us ahead and win that game.
Yeah, had a big steal with a layup down there, had a large three, and he ended up taking 16 shots, which is a more acceptable range, for kind of, unless he's absolutely cooking.
Yeah.
I think that's a good range of shots for him to get. Still a bunch of it's a Clarkson type game, right? You'll have kind of the give and take of his lapses on the defensive end or things that happen during the game. But my goodness, it looked like Markkanen's legs were dead, and we needed a player.
Yeah,
we needed a player to be able to come through and make those shots for us, and he did.
Now there's another big talking point of this game that and probably some of our viewers know I'm very excited about. Ochai Agbaji. Holy crap, look the difference it makes when a guy like his play set who is getting consistent minutes, understanding exactly what his role is going to be in the game, and playing with Keyonte, playing with a true point guard. He had a couple threes that were just nice and easy, wide open shots, but then all of a sudden he's pulling up over Jaren Jackson. And this is one of those games that shows where he really can be, because he was hitting those shots. He had a couple big dunks, had a nice drive over Jaren Jackson, but all game defensively was great.
I mean, Bane ended up with 37 points, but he hit 2 shots at the end. One of them he really earned, another one kind of
crazy shot.
Screen, and that one you just got to tip your hat. But the majority of those points were when our backup guards were in the game and covering him.
And the thing is so first half, Agbaji blocks him. All of a sudden, he starts passing up everything. He does not want that attack with Agbaji. Third quarter, when our bench is in and we're trying to guard him with Tucker, Desmond Bane goes off. Now Agbaji has to come in and guard him when he's on fire.
Yeah, when he has a rhythm.
So now that window has to get so much tighter. There's no room for error now because Desmond Bane is on fire. When Agbaji subbed out, Desmond Bane was struggling. He was not looking for his shot.
There were a few times he actually had a small window to get up a shot, and it would have been perfectly fine, but he hesitated and second-guessed himself because it's kind of like a quarterback with happy feet in the pocket there. Ochai had been in tight on him so many times that he just wasn't correctly reading the space. So that was very impressive. Made his shots, the defensive impact.
Blocked Jaren Jackson.
We've got to wake up to how fast he transitions on the court. There's probably 3 times that we missed him for wide open dunks at the other end because we didn't throw it over the top.
Yes.
He's, like I said, his 0 to 100.
The one time we saw it was he gets a steal. Keyonte takes one dribble and just throws it forward to Agbaji and lets him in open space be explosive, and he gets a big dunk.
Yeah, and then just a couple possessions later, he blows by Jaren Jackson Jr. and cranks it home with the left hand. Strong game by Ochai, and I'm puzzled why we haven't played him more up till now in the season. But
my concern
has to be now, right?
Here's my concern is we are still only playing him as a 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the second Kessler comes back, he moves into behind. Does he move into just Markkanen's backup, plays 15 minutes?
He has to play the 2. We have to sacrifice one of our combo guards' minutes for Ochai to get more time as a 2.
Yeah.
Has to. And those are the lineups that will be, that we know. We have lineups that are better than what our record and what our numbers are showing.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to put those right ones in. But it was fantastic to see him break out today.
And our team defense from our starters looked better than it's looked all year. Besides when Kessler's been going out and getting a bunch of blocks. But our communication seemed much better for the most part with our starters.
Collins stepped up and had some large blocks down the stretch.
Had a huge block. Agbaji gets screened. Markkanen gets a second screen, and so Desmond Bane had a wide open layup, and Collins comes across, blocks it, and love the toughness of Collins. Rolls his ankle, could have easily gone out. He quickly laces it up and hobbles it off, and just kind of gets his adrenaline going and finishes out the game and finishes strong.
Yep. So now we come back home. We have a couple of days rest to be able to start playing some more games. Who do we play?
Portland.
We got Portland on Tuesday.
Portland's second game of the in-season tournament. We are
On the road.
We are 1-0 in the in-season tournament.
That's true. Dominating, unblemished. That's true. And then we've got Friday, our first in-season tournament home game. Interesting to see the purple court.
Yeah.
See what that's going to look like. I thought Memphis court was kind of gray. Was their highlight color?
Their jerseys were just pretty just standard and a gray court. It looked like the Brooklyn Nets court.
Yeah, it was. I expected some more crazy colors, especially with like their
some blue.
They'll put their light colored blue they have, right? You'd expect something like that. But anyways, we know that ours is purple, right? They've put ours out. Yeah.
Yep, ours is a very purple court.
That'll be interesting to see.
We're going to hide in it with our purple jerseys.
Interesting to see the Keyonte George and Scoot Henderson matchup. Heard a number that Scoot Henderson for the year from 3 is shooting 9%.
Yikes.
So he needs to get that into check if he's gonna pull defenses out towards him. But it'll be interesting to see the two rookies in the summer league game when Scoot went against Amen Thompson. Looked like Scoot took that one personal. He wanted it. So it'll be interesting if there's some feelings like that on this one. But that'll be an interesting matchup. It was good to see this one get close down the stretch because our team needs hurdles. They need obstacles, and the blowouts don't really do that as much. So.
And that's the thing, is we do need to have close battles that we come out on top of to take those kind of steps forward of a mentality of a team. That was our biggest problem with Gobert and Mitchell, is it was kind of known that if it got close down the stretch, we were going to just fall apart. We were going to lose. That happened way too many times. So being able to have this situation, and obviously playing Memphis helps, but have this situation and win that game and have, even with Keyonte struggling to hit those shots down the stretch, but win these games, have that mentality there with that of, even if it gets tight, we've got the guys to win.
And that's that year that we had the best record in the league. That's when you're talking about we would either win by 25, right?
Yeah.
Or teams would close us out. The few teams that got close and closed us out, we would lose. That was pretty consistent for that season. So you're correct. This is helpful.
Markkanen did not get enough shots this game. And the thing is, he was shooting really well in that awful third quarter with that awful lineup. Markkanen was on the court with him, but he just stood in the corner basically the entire time. He just stood in the corner. I think he took maybe 2 shots.
Yeah,
with
we were
that
talking about
lineup.
That third quarter, it looked like, I only remember 1. Maybe there was 2. I don't know. But that quarter was rough, and we didn't go through him. And yeah, we have to trim the fat on some of that.
We need to make moves. Our bench needs work. Our bench needs work. There's no question about that.
In our last video, maybe it was after the Bulls game, I can't remember. I talked about how a player like Zach LaVine would help us. There was a commenter in the comments, and we love that. We love this discussion, that mentioned, Zach LaVine was in Chicago there when Markkanen was there, so that might not be a good matchup. Markkanen may not want him in here. And that may be true. That would be something we would have to do our due diligence on, right? We think enough of Markkanen that if his opinion was that, I would say no go. But a lot of years have happened since then. Both of those players were younger. No Boylan, right?
But
Boylan? Yeah. That's name.
Also with that, though, Zach LaVine's been one of the few players that has, like, from that era, who has still had, obviously their on-court stuff is what it is, but has still had those really good interactions whenever we've played them, stuff like that. Zach LaVine's also talked very highly of Markkanen. Not all of last year, Zach LaVine consistently talked about how he was pumped to see Markkanen doing this because he always knew he should be able to do this in Chicago, and he got kind of screwed. There's been talk that I've seen over the last year or so, anytime it's been mentioned that that LaVine and Markkanen were really one of the only few that actually had a good relationship by the end of that blow up.
Yeah, and young people, just like when any of us were young, as years go on, we mature. So it may not be a thing anymore as people evolve in life.
Something you can
And
look at.
so
Something you can look at is Sexton and Markin.
right,
Sexton didn't even know. Had openly talked about how he didn't know anything about
didn't even know he
Markkanen's
had a family.
family
Yeah, didn't even
when
know.
they were in Cleveland together, and they seemingly have a very good. They work very well together now.
Right. And Zach Levine may not be the piece. That was just a guy I was throwing out as a hypothetical.
Yeah,
Um, and understand when I talk about a consolidation war, I don't live under the premise and think that we're going to trade a couple of our guys and we're going to get one guy back in return that's going to be a centerpiece of a championship run.
right.
That's a little bit naive, right? But it may be a piece that helps us move and evolve into a place where we can then make a few more moves and get that there. And so whether it's a Tyler Hero or Levine,
We tried Drew Holiday.
upgrading
We
Drew
wanted Drew
Holiday, trying to
Holiday.
upgrade some of our kind of combo guard logjam situation. That's what we're after. I even the I'm trying to remember the name of the channel, the Hardcourt Knocks or something like that. Brought up a situation and said that we'd be smart to try and get like Tyus Jones or Andrew Nemhard, type of deal. And I like both of those options. I like both of those players, very solid players. I don't know if we want to bring in a really strong point guard right now that kind of overshadows Keyonte's time right now and what he's doing at the point guard. But I understand where he's going with that. But the consolidation efforts that need to happen are going to be a bunch of steps in the long process, not one final step that gets us there close. So
Yes.
I understand that bringing in Zach Levine may be a situation to bring in another trade or something down the road that then allows us to move on to some other pieces too. So, but I think that something like that is something like that needs to happen. I would prefer it happen before the trade deadline, pretty please, but we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see. I think that needs to happen.
I would like to see it today. There's just I believe that yes, it's only 2 games, but seeing how much better our team has our starters at least have played together. Hell, how much better Clarkson's playing now. You have to understand that changes need to be made. You need to see that. Okay, Agbaji needs to be on the court, and a game like tonight, he got to play defensively the two because he played against Desmond Bain, who's playing there too.
Right.
So he played him defensively the two, and all of a sudden just shined. And so it's things that you hope, and there's no way he's not. But Danny Ainge, Justin Zanuck are looking at that and understanding changes need to be made. And this would be the perfect time because Kessler's out. So as Kessler comes back, we can kind of bring in those pieces, and then Agbaji's getting good minutes now at the 3. As Kessler comes back, it's just a seamless slide.
Shifts him over the 2. I agree completely with that. A primary ball handler's number one role is going to be to make everybody better. So even though Keyonte George's numbers have been great, the situation, it's obvious that he's making everyone else, like you said, for Clarkson, for Collins, for Markkanen, everybody's numbers go up when he's playing with them. There was a show today talking about how Kessler and Collins do not fit together, and how horrible the numbers are. Well, understand who all those numbers have been with.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Now, Kessler's had his struggles, right? They're part of that we're expecting him to evolve a little bit and hope it happens soon. But understand the ball movement and distribution that's been happening up until 2 games ago when all of those numbers were put together.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is up until these 2 games, scoring wise and stuff like that, our bench has been pretty solid. We've been one of the top teams, like top 10 bench wise. The guy who's been running that offense is now in our starting lineup. Weird. Now our starting lineup looks really good, and our bench is starting to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
So these are things you have to understand. These are things you have to be able to see, and you can't not see it. You can't be so delusional to want guys like Tucker and Sexton to be successful and just want them to be good so badly that you can't understand, you can't see that it's not working. And Tucker's in his 4th year?
I swear it's his 5th year, man.
I'm pretty sure it's his 4th. what, fourth or fifth, I could care less about his age because he's been a pro for 4 years. He's the same player he was when he was in LA doing this exact same crap that he would do some stuff and you'd be like, oh, wow, he's really good. But when you actually have to sit and watch him nonstop, it's like, oh, he's not.
It paints a consistent picture, right? And there are times that he'll come in. I think he started 3 for 3 from the game.
Hit some wild shots.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
And when that happens, I mean, you roll with it. That's why it fits as a come off the bench combo guard. And there are some teams out there that need a player like Horton Tucker. And like I said, we have 3 combo guards, and we've talked about this since the preseason. Clarkson, Sexton, Horton Tucker. We need to get rid of 1. I say, maybe even 2. You even came out and said 3. You're ready to wipe the slate clean. We have room for at least one of those types on our team. It's beneficial.
That's my thing. Is I'm okay with keeping one of them. I'm okay with getting rid of all 3 of them. But I'm not okay with keeping them.
We would obviously have to replace. You're talking about replacing them with some others coming in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where we're at. We have a bit of a log jam, and up until this point in the season, especially up until Kessler got hurt, we compromised our lineups on the court to try and appease the logjam with the combo guard, and it's hurt us as a team as far as our results.
Yeah.
Now, we're not completely just going crazy off the results this year, right? We understand that this is not just a complete results-driven year, but we are better than what our record and our numbers show, especially if we played the correct lineups out there. And that's the argument I'm making.
I thought you were going to say, especially if we played Memphis every night.
Well, thank you, Memphis. I've said this before. We know you're going through some stuff, but thank you.
Yeah,
we're leaning on you. You are 2 of our 3 wins on the season.
Yeah. We'll see what happens over the next couple weeks, even if anything happens. But if things keep going this way, you'd think we'd have to be seeing some trades.
It looks like it's moving towards it. I mean, let's talk about the whole situation of Keyonte George. I mean, we were calling for him to start. You especially. I thought it was going to take a while. We both wanted him to start sooner rather than later. You were talking right from the beginning, even though it would result in more losses, which I understand the logic behind that. I was talking a little bit more of 20, 30, 40, maybe all-star break time for him before he could really break in, before it would make sense. And he put pressure on right from the start. He did what a young player needs to do.
Yeah.
Right? Put the pressure on the coaching staff, impress the fans, make some noise. All of a sudden, some of the writers out there are like, hey, what's going on here? We need to do this. We need to do this.
Right.
And 8 games into the season, the coach had to pull the trigger. Had to. Right? That's impressive. Coming into the season, I would have thought, realistically, for that to happen, he would have had to have played out of his mind, like a crazy high level. And that's even after we saw the summer league stuff of him hitting shots and having some assists. But I didn't think it would translate that quick. I didn't think it would. And I feel like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too. I feel like I'm a homer. So maybe not. Maybe I wasn't drinking it enough. But that is impressive what he's pulled, and he forced the hand of the coach and the fans and a bunch of players that are behind him. Obviously, the coach talked about it when he brought up in front of the team that he had support of his teammates. That's fantastic. Once he starts hitting the shots, we've said this before, the league's going to go a little bit wild on him.
He starts making a little bit of the shots he was making in the summer league with the way he's facilitating right now. Holy crap! There's this freaking stud point guard we've been looking for.
And so at this point, as much as I love Andrew Nembhard, I would say it probably wouldn't be smart to bring him in unless it was just to be a solid point guard backup.
And that's why I'd be happy making some moves, whether we keep one of the 3 combo guards or not. But either way, have a 6th man in Clarkson or one of them or someone else who we bring in at the 2 and let Chris Dunn just be our backup point guard.
I can support that, especially if he gets back into his kind of zone of last year of hitting some of those, less turnovers, more of those floaters in the lane. I'm completely cool with that, especially with how strong he is defensively, because that there would be no let off when that second unit came in if he was on Bane.
Yeah,
There would have been no let off.
Exactly.
A little bit more foul prone this year, but I think he'll get that fixed. But there would have been no let off. And that's important. All of a sudden now you're talking about us moving up a few slots in the Western Conference and being in the discussion of possibly a play-in team.
Yeah.
Right? And results-wise for a team, I think that's a great area to be in this year. I think that there are some decent draft picks coming in this next draft here. 1 through 9, 1 through 10 look pretty good, but it's nowhere close to what that following year is. And so I would rather
Cooper Flag.
I would rather get up in the Cooper Flag running, you know what I mean, for that next draft. And so I would rather not have a top 10 pick this year, so that draft pick conveys to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Thank you, Derek Favors. Thank you, Dennis Lindsay.
Yeah.
I'm going to get us started on that.
Yeah. But overall, good win. Good win. Another really good showing from a rookie point guard, and guys are starting to get a little bit more comfortable, and we'll see what happens on Tuesday. Another in-season tournament game. We got 3 back-to-back, right? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I haven't seen Portland's court yet.
I think it's red. Very red.
Man, there's a few of them that are just loud, like insane, like kind of Boise State turf, Eastern Washington turf, right?
I'm pretty sure Portland's one of them. Like, I'm pretty sure it's very red. Like how purple ours is, red.
That's why I'm so surprised they made theirs gray. Here's the plan, guys.
Yeah,
we're gonna make yours beige.
We'll see. We'll see. Let us know what you guys think about the game. Let us know you as excited as we are about Keyonte George as a starter and what he's been doing already.
Absolutely. Hit us with the subscribes. Hit us with the comments. Let's argue. Let's agree. Whatever. We're down.
Let's do it.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.